What's going on, guys? Before the video starts, I just wanted to say once I hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a 100 rep squat challenge. So if you want to see that, make sure to share my videos and channel with your friends and family, anyone who would want to see it. And so let's get into the video. What's going on, everybody? Zach Shemicki here, back with another video. I ran a poll on Instagram asking if you wanted to learn how to bulk or if you wanted to learn about intermittent fasting, and bulking took the win today. So I'm going to be doing this, explaining how to get big, get juicy, get muscular, all that good stuff. And next week I will teach you all about flexible dieting and what that is. So let's get into it with Bulking 101. So, to get big, to get your muscles to grow, it is partially training, but a lot of it goes into nutrition also, just like with cutting. And like I said in the last video, you can't really cut and bulk at the same time unless you're just starting out, because your body generally becomes desensitized. So after you get past those initial noob gains, you're not going to be able to do both. So it takes the complete opposite caloric requirement as cutting, so instead of being in a deficit, you need to be in a surplus. So what we're going to do here is use this equation, and you're gonna take your body weight times 15, and that's gonna give you about your maintenance calories. It's going to be different for every person because everybody's metabolism is different. So after you do that, you're gonna get your maintenance calories, and then you're going to add 300 to 500 to that, and that is going to give you your goal calorie intake for bulking. And with this, you only do 300 to 500 calories of a surplus because you're going to be wanting to put on mostly lean mass. Naturally, you're not going to be able to put on that much size in a short amount of time. So to minimize fat gain and to ensure that you're putting on mostly muscle, you're only going to be wanting to have 300 to 500 extra calories a day. I'm going to use me for example again, and I just actually started prep this past week, and I'm down to 185 pounds. So we're going to take 185 times 15, and that is going to give us 2,775. And then we're going to add 300 calories first, and that is going to give us 3,075, and then add 500, and that is going to give us 3,275. So if I'm going to be wanting to lean bulk, which is, like I said, putting on muscle without so much fat, we are going to be needing, or at least I'm going to be needing, 3,075 calories to 3,275 calories. So now that we have our calories all figured out, we're going to be heading over to the macros. And so, like I said in the last video, in case you weren't there, or in case you didn't see it, macros are the macronutrients. There are 3 of them: protein, fats, and carbs. And these are the sources of calories. So to calculate our protein, it's going to be a little bit less than cutting because the body doesn't take that much to synthesize protein and put it into muscle. So we're only going to be needing about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So for me, like I said, I am 185. We're going to be multiplying this times 0.8. And so that is going to give me 148. And then I'm going to be multiplying it times 1. And then that is going to give me 185. So my protein intake for the day is going to be 148 to 185 grams of protein. And up next is going to be fats, and that is going to be 0.3 to 0.6 grams per pound of body weight. And this is going to be putting you into the about 20 to 35% of your required fat intake for the day. or the daily recommended fat intake. And so we're going to take 185 times 0.3. That is going to give me 55.5. We'll just go with 55. And then times 0.6. That is going to give me 111. So my fat intake on a bulk is going to be about 55 to 111 grams. And if you tend to lean more towards carbs, you're going to go with the 0.3. And if you prefer fatty foods, you're going to be going with the 0.6 grams per pound. And so if it doesn't really matter to you, I'd say just go with like 0.4, 0.5. Because you're eating a lot of calories, it can be a lot easier to get your calories in through fats. So when I'm bulking, I tend to go with the 111 grams, sometimes a little bit more. It's basically just all up to personal preference if you prefer carbs or fats in your diet. And finally, we have carbohydrates. And so for this, we're going to need these numbers again, which is protein has 4 calories per gram, carbs has 4 calories per gram, and fats have 9 calories per gram. The calories I'm going to be going with is the higher amount, 3,275, personally because I have a somewhat high metabolism, meaning I'm going to need more calories to gain weight. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our protein intake. Mine, I'm going with the higher amount just because I'm eating more calories, same with the fat. But I'm going to be going with 185 times 4. So my total calories from protein is going to be 740. And then we're going to be doing 111 times 9. So my total calories for fats are 999. And then we're going to subtract those from the total calorie intake. And that is leaving us with 1,536 calories left. And that's going to be going towards our carb intake. So we're going to be dividing that number by 4, leaving us with 384 grams of carbs. So that's going to be how many carbs I'm going to need to eat on a bulk. So I'm going to be eating a total of 3,275 calories, 185 grams of protein, 111 grams of fat, and then 384 grams of carbs. Now that we got the most important part of bulking out of the way, we're going to be heading on to training, which is the next most important thing, obviously. You're going to be wanting to train 3 to 6 times a week, and really it just depends on whatever kind of split you like to do, whether you want to do full body 3 times a week, if you want to do an upper lower split, or if you want to split like push pull legs, really whatever you want to do. And you're going to be wanting to train each muscle group 2 to 3 times a week with the 48 hours in between so the muscle has time to recover. That's another important thing, is recovery. I'll get into that later. You're going to be wanting to lift heavy, and you're going to be wanting to get stronger, because the stronger you get, the more muscle you're going to put on. And so if you want to focus more on strength, you're going to be wanting to go with sets of 4 to 6 reps. If you're going for muscular hypertrophy, which is the fancy name for gains, you're going to be wanting to stick with 8 to 12 reps. And for endurance is going to be 15 plus reps. Whatever you choose to focus on, you should be doing about 3 to 4 sets, especially for hypertrophy. As far as strength, it kind of varies. People do like 10 sets of 3, people do 4 sets of 6, 6 sets of 4, 5 sets of 5. And that's really mainly for compound lifts like bench, squat, deadlift, and that type of training is used a lot by powerlifters. And you're going to be wanting to have a rest period of about 2 to 3 minutes between sets. That's just going to ensure that you have enough time to recover and go all out in the next set. And if you're trying to bulk and get bigger, I wouldn't really recommend going for 15 plus reps unless you're switching it up after you've been lifting heavy and you just want to shock your body if you've hit like a plateau or something, and go with like sets of 20 and just go extremely high volume. Or if you're doing isolation movements, which are really just single joint exercises, compound movements are multiple joint movements. So like multi-joint movement would be like, as I said before, squat, deadlift. Single joint movements are going to be like preacher curls, leg extensions, lying hamstring curls. Those all just use one joint and isolate a specific muscle. And those are great to end workouts with as finishers, to just completely destroy the muscle. And I'm going to be ending this with just a few tips to help you bulk, to ensure you're doing it right, you don't get fat, and you're getting stronger and you're putting on a lot of size, a lot of quality size. So first of all, you're just going to want to decide if you should bulk or cut. If you're like 130 pounds at a low body fat percentage, definitely bulk. But if you're overweight, like 20% plus body fat, I would definitely say cut first and get your body fat down to at least about 15% before you decide to start bulking. And like I said, with the training, it's important that you're getting stronger with all your compound lifts and you're increasing your PRs because, like I said, you're getting stronger, you're going to be putting on more size. And the most important thing is you're going to be needing to eat. A lot of people try bulking, but they're just not eating enough calories and they're wondering why they're not growing. And so at least track your calories for about a week just to make sure you're getting enough. And as far as eating, you're going to want to stick with the 80-20 rule, which means you're eating 80% clean, 20% whatever the hell you want to eat. And that ties in with flexible dieting, which I'm going to get into next week. Basically, you're going to be wanting to eat wholesome, good, nutritious foods that have nutritious value, just to ensure you're being healthy and staying healthy and just not being a fat, disgusting piece of garbage like I used to be. And then the final tip is going to be for hard gainers or anyone who has trouble putting on size because they have an extremely high metabolism or they're just not hungry. You're going to want to have an increased fat intake because that's where most of your calories come from. So if you make like smoothies, throw in like olive oil or coconut oil, you're not going to taste it at all. But it's going to help you get extra calories in. Or if you're making a smoothie or a shake or something, throw in some oats to get some extra calories in. Also, eating clean is really hard to do when bulking. Well, I guess it's not really hard to do, it's hard to get in that many calories of clean food. So if you're a hard gainer and you have trouble getting calories in, it might not be a bad option to have nutrient-dense foods like some junk food, but definitely do not go overboard. You want to stick to as much healthy foods as possible. That's going to be really important just to overall maintain just regular health. And one more thing that I don't have written down is don't expect results too fast, because putting on muscle takes a lot more time than losing fat does. You're going to be wanting to, if you're just starting out, you're going to be wanting to go for 1 to 2 pounds a month. It just depends on how your body is and how you respond to it. If you've been doing it for a few years, it's definitely going to be a lot slower because of desensitization to training. Your body's just going to get used to it and it's not going to make the same changes as it was. So it's going to take time. You just need to stick with it, and with everything else in life, consistency is key. If you stick with it, you're definitely going to see progress, and it's definitely going to be worth it. So don't expect results to come fast, and just work with it. Enjoy the process, live life, eat good food, stay healthy, and you'll be happy with the results. So that's it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot from it and implement all the information I gave you. Make sure to share it with your friends, family, whoever you think could get big, because let's be honest, who couldn't use a little extra muscle? So make sure to thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, and I will see you in next week's video.